so that inevitably in that context, you had somebody like Khamenei having a really high probability of becoming a strong dictator because he had that rigid pattern of behavior learnt in the population. But the youth of Iran are the hope, and women in particular are the hope because they are breaking this pattern.
Another thing that in the contemporary context of Iran and this uprising that is interesting, that you talk about in the book is that you don't necessarily talk about this moment in Iran, but I want to ask you about it. Is you talk about the hardwiring of individuals, and this is, I guess you're talking about continuity of behavior that we see as hardwired, no matter what is happening, no matter what is happening, as you would say, on the surface level, politically or in nation states or over a period of time. How does this theory of hardwiring of individuals, i.e., to put it simply, individuals not changing their behavior, intersect with the current youth of Iran? Because would they not be, as I'm reading this in your book, I'm thinking, aren't the current youth of Iran an example of the opposite of hardwiring? That is, that despite being born into the Islamic Republic, even despite their own parents, in some cases, they are rejecting what is their expected behavior, and deference to this theocratic state, and pushing for everything from women's rights to fair votes to collectivism. So where do we locate them in this hardwired spectrum?
In any discussion about behavior, we're talking about a spectrum. Not everybody behaves the same way. And the youth of Iran have been impacted by global trends through the internet. So they are a very special case. And I see them as having more dynamic, less rigid ways of thinking. And I see them as being less influenced by traditional Iranian leader-follower relationships. One of the challenges in Iran has been that when we grew up in families, we learned our relationship with the leader through the family. And that was part of what I call the external hardwiring that remained intact, so that inevitably in that context, you had somebody like Khamenei having a really high probability of becoming a strong dictator because he had that rigid pattern of behavior learnt in the population. But the youth of Iran are the hope, and women in particular are the hope because they are breaking this pattern.